Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending today's session. To start, I'll introduce myself. My name is Sean Corey. I work as a project manager specializing in Microsoft deployments for a company called Continuent. Your company has selected Continuent to implement Skype for Business calling. You will now be able to place calls directly from your desktop. So the first thing that we'll cover is hypercare. After your site has migrated, you will have the ability to join a hypercare bridge to report issues or place requests. The hypercare bridge will be staffed with dedicated customer support professionals that will log your issue, route them to the correct engineer, and track the issue as well to make sure that it is being resolved as fast as possible. For the fastest possible resolution, make sure you can provide the following information before joining the Hypercare Skype bridge. First, we'll need the name of the site where the issue is occurring. We'll also need your name, first and last, or the name of the person who is experiencing the issue. We'll need the global ID or the global ID of the person who is experiencing the issue. And we'll also need your telephone number or the number for the affected conference or common area phone. To join the bridge, we'll first go to the Avaya to Skype voice migration page. Keep in mind as we go through this training, if you do not have links that I am sharing, place your email in the chat and I will gladly send out all these slides with the links included. So once we click and launch the Avaya to Skype voice transition page, you will see under announcements, there is a Hypercare Skype link. Clicking this will drop you right into the Hypercare Skype bridge. Next, we'll discuss call forwarding, simultaneous ring, and secondary ringer. Some of you may already be familiar with this from the basic Skype training session, but I will go over it again as a refresher real quickly here. So from our Skype client, if we go down to the bottom left and click the phone with the plus sign, this is going to be our call forwarding dropdown. While we can forward calls and set up simultaneous ring from here, let's click into call forwarding settings. Now from here, I can forward my calls to a new number, a contact, a voicemail, or delegates. I can also do the same thing with simultaneous ring. Whatever I do, I want to make sure that before I press OK to save, that I'm looking at this white text box here, and that is going to recap what your current settings are. If you click on these blue links, you can actually change how long you want it to ring before it goes to voicemail. And you can also choose if you want these settings to apply all the time or during work hours set in Outlook. From here, we'll navigate up to the Audio Device tab. And here's where we can set our secondary ringer. So if you do not have your headset on and you're not looking at your PC, it is possible you could miss a call. We recommend setting up the secondary ringer. I've got it set to also ring my laptop speakers. And I've also got this box checked so that my laptop, even if the speakers are muted, it is going to unmute when my phone rings so that I am able to get notified of that call, even if I'm not looking at my screen or I don't have my headset on. Next, let's review actions available to you as a delegate in Skype for Business. As most of you are already using the delegate feature in Outlook, I will not cover that process, but once you are set up as a delegate, either via Skype or Office 365, you will be able to place calls, send messages, and schedule meetings on someone else's behalf. So once you are designated as a delegate, you will be able to right-click a contact, go down to call, and you'll see that I have the option to place the call for myself or for the person who I am a delegate for. This also works for sending an email message, scheduling a meeting, and starting a conference call. To start a conference call for Matthew, who I am a delegate for, I simply select the contacts that I want to add to the call, right-click, go to Start a Conference Call, and go down to the person I want to start the call for. I do want to point out for anybody concerned that if you are set up as a delegate for John Smith today and Outlook, and your site is migrated next week, those delegate levels will be built into Skype. So when you open your Skype client, you will be able to place calls on anyone's behalf that has set you as a delegate. So you will not need extra work there to be re-added as a delegate. That should automatically map over once your site migrates. Now we'll take a look at how to handle multiple incoming calls with Skype for Business. When multiple call pop-ups appear at the same time, choose your first priority and click Accept to take the call. So if you have two callers at the same time, just pick the person you want to speak with and select the phone icon on the pop-up to answer the call. To accept a new call when in an existing call, advise the current caller that you will place them on hold to take another call, and then click the phone icon to take the new call. The original caller will automatically be placed on hold. To place the new caller on hold, once you have answered the call, click the call controls icon and then click hold. You will be returned to the original call. You can hold either call to move between the calls. Finally, to ignore an incoming call when in an existing call, when the new call pop-up appears, simply click Ignore on the lower right hand of the pop-up window. By default, your phone will be set up to have a ringtone on a second call. This can be a bit distracting for people, so I will show you how you can disable the ringtone for that second incoming call in Skype for Business. To do this, we will open the Options menu by hitting the Gear tab on the top right of the client. From here, we'll go down to Ringtones and Sounds and click into Sound Settings. This will open the sound settings from your PC. Scroll down in this window here, and you'll see Skype for Business. If we look below Skype for Business, we will see second incoming call. Once you have clicked this to select it, you can change the sound that plays or go to the very top of the list and select None, and then press Apply to save, and then OK. Next, we'll look at conference calling and meeting and go over some tips that apply to both the Skype for Business client and the Polycom phones. Now first, I do want to make you aware of a couple things. So the first is, do not sign out on the conference room phone and attempt to log in with your credentials. The phone has its own Skype for Business profile and will not be usable for others until the phone's profile is signed back in by IT. Also, please be mindful, do not unplug the conference room phones. This will render the phone useless until it has been reconnected and an engineer resolves. So again, please do not sign out of a conference room phone and attempt to log in with your credentials. And please do not unplug the conference room phones. Doing either of these will result in your coworkers possibly not being able to have their meeting as planned because IT is in the room trying to get the phone back online. To join meetings from a conference room and use the Polycom conference phone for audio, it's just a few steps. So first, one person in the conference room will need to open the Outlook invite, typically the organizer, and use the audio conference details to dial into the conference from the conference room phone. So they will dial that toll number and then enter the conference ID number there, followed by pound to be placed into the meeting. Once the audio is joined from the conference phone, all others need to mute their microphone and speakers to prevent the conference phone from picking up audio feedback. Ask that everyone who will view the meeting on their laptop from the same conference room joins the meeting and selects Don't Join Audio after you have already dialed in to the Skype meeting from the conference room phone. Let's take a look at a few of the most commonly asked questions in regard to both Skype and Polycom conferencing. So the first is, how do I schedule a recurring Skype for Business meeting? You will simply schedule a normal recurring meeting, then click the Skype meeting button and wait for the audio bridge info and link to populate before sending. So again, once you've set your occurrence and created your meeting invite, at the end, click the Skype meeting to insert the bridge info and send the invite as you normally would. Next question is, what happens if I delete an occurrence in a recurring meeting series? As long as you select just this one when asked if you want to make changes to the meeting or the entire series, your Skype meetings will stay in the rest of the series. So again, if you have a recurring Skype meeting, make sure when you click in to edit it that you select just this one. And you will get a reminder that changes to this occurrence won't apply to the Skype meeting associated with the series. The final question is, do I need to reschedule the meetings I already have scheduled that only contain the Skype link and not the dial-in information? So most of you are already using the Skype for Business client and using Skype meetings to share content, but joining via audio conferencing bridge. Once your site has migrated and you have the correct licenses applied to your user profile, your meetings should automatically update and be populated with audio conferencing information. While all of you were trained on how to join and schedule a Skype for Business meeting in the regular Skype for Business session, there are a few finer points I want to call out about conference calling. So the first is, how will you reschedule a recurring Skype for Business meeting? This will be done just as you do with a regular recurring Outlook meeting. You invite your attendees, set your subject, location, add your agenda, set your occurrence, And once you have that all done, simply click Skype Meeting to insert the audio conferencing information, and then go ahead and send. Do recommend that, again, you set the meeting up, set your occurrence, and as the last thing, you add the Skype meeting information. So the next point I want to call out is what happens if you delete an occurrence in a reoccurring meeting series. As long as when you go to open the occurrence that you want to delete, as long as you select just this one and do not edit the entire series, that occurrence will be deleted, but you will not need to reschedule the other meetings in the series. The other meetings in the series should keep the same conference ID and toll number as well. And then the last point around conferencing is, will you need to reschedule the meetings you have already scheduled prior to migration that only contain the Skype link and not the dial information? The answer is no. I am very happy to tell you that post-migration, all your meetings will be updated with the audio conferencing info that gives participants a dial-in number and a conference ID to join the audio. And when that occurs, you will be able to join straight from the client, as shown in the regular Skype training session. Next, we'll look at how to sign in and transfer calls on both the VVX 411 and the VVX 501. To sign into a Polycom VVX 411 phone, simply select the soft key under the screen to the left and choose your method of sign-in. To sign in using user credentials, simply use the credentials you use to access organizational apps like ServiceNow or Outlook. So let's take a look at how to do that. Simply press transfer, select the number you wish to send the call to, and press send to transfer the call. Keep in mind, by selecting transfer a contact and then pressing send, a blind transfer will be initiated and you will not have a chance to consult with the person you are transferring the call to. If you would like to do a consultative transfer, simply hit the transfer soft key, select more, and select consultative. Now, once I send the call, I'll have an option to talk to the person that I'm transferring the call to.
Hi, this is Jackie.
Hi, Jackie. Hey, I have Alex on the other line. Is it okay if I transfer him through to you?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome, thank you. And then I press transfer to initiate the transfer. During a call, we can select transfer at the bottom of the touchscreen. From here, we can use the dial pad to transfer the call, contacts, recents, or a list of your favorites. You can also choose the transfer type by selecting more in the top right corner of the screen, and you can choose either blind transfer or consultative. Consultative will allow you to speak to the person you are transferring to before putting the caller through. When receiving a call, we're presented with the options answer, reject, forward, new call, or ignore. Once you've answered the call, we can transfer it. To choose the transfer type, select the More button at the top right corner of the screen and select blind or consultative. Once consultative is selected, I will dial the contact I wish to reach, press the blue phone icon to initiate the call.
Hello?
Hi, Kylie. I've got Alex on the line. He wants to talk to you about that server. Can I put him through?
Yeah, go ahead and pass them through.
Thank you. And press transfer again to finish the transfer. To sign in to a Polycom VVX 501, simply select Sign In on the bottom left corner of the touchscreen and choose one of your sign-in methods. Typically, we use user ID. This allows you to use your user credentials as you normally would for organizational apps such as Outlook or ServiceNow. Once you've entered your credentials, press Sign In and you will be signed in.
That will conclude the content for this training session, but wait. Before you go, I will be sharing some links, and after I've shared the links, we will go through the Q&A and chat windows and do our best to answer any questions that have been posed. Useful links I want to call your attention to are the ServiceNow self-service portal. Here we can search easy to follow step-by-step knowledge articles for Skype, Jabra headsets, and Polycom phones. I also want to point out the Avaya to Skype migration page. I've mentioned this several times in the session so far, but we will go here to find links to user guides, how-to videos, pre-recorded online training sessions, migration schedule, hypercare bridge, as we saw earlier, and much more. I've also included the hypercare bridge link again. Again, thank you everyone for attending. Please place your name and email in the chat window if you'd like to receive a copy of these slides or have any further questions. Other than that, we will go through the Q&A and chat windows and attempt to answer as many of your questions as we can. Thank you everybody for attending.